Alright guys, so epic empowerment, it's all the rage. But I want to go over today what epics I'm going to be empowering. I want to share some more information with you guys. And I want to say, watch my previous video on champions you do not want to empower. I made it clear there, but I want to re-emphasize there are some champions that you use in different areas with very different builds that a +4 won't fix with just more stats. For example, if you use it in Iron Twins and Hydra, maybe you want Relentless in Hydra and very fast, and in Iron Twins you need a very slow build, for example. Or maybe you use it in Hydra 1, 2, and 3, and you literally need duplicate copies of this champion in order to actually use them. So just getting to +4 doesn't fix the stats. Because I saw that a lot in the comment section, people saying, well, if you use it a lot, just +4 it, and you're going to be fine. Well, there's a lot more to it. And I wouldn't be so, I guess, hard on this, but there's been a countless number of players who I've been into accounts of who have a lot of legendaries, but they've empowered so many of them when there's really no need for it, honestly. And it kind of just hurts your account because when you pull a champion, especially that you actually want to empower, it could prevent you from doing so. So I want to give an example today, okay? When you're coming through and you're empowering your epics, do not empower an epic just because it gives you an extra stat bonus. I can give you a perfect example with a legendary faction that I did this with recently. So I had a Ultimate Death Knight. I had my Ultimate Death Knight, I had my Faction Guardians full for Undead Horde, and my Ultimate Death Knight, I pulled him, okay, I'm going to go ahead and +1 him. He's a good champion. I use him in a lot of places. Well, soon after I +1 my Ultimate Death Knight, I actually pulled another copy of Siphi. So now I don't have the Ultimate Death Knight. I could have put 2 copies of him in here, and I could have had my Siphi at +2. But now, if I want to go in and +2 my Siphi, then I'm going to have to break my Faction Guardian slot, lose 10 speed to everybody. So hopefully that makes sense. But had I saved that UDK instead of empowering him, I would have had these 2 slots filled, and my Siphi could have now been +2. This is what I want to emphasize. There are a lot of factions. For example, let's go with Shadowkin, which is the one that I'm most focused on, where most of the champions you don't necessarily need to empower, but there's a few you really want to. So for my example, it's going to be Obero. So in this faction, I want to make sure that any champion in the Faction Guardian slot ideally is one that I don't plan on empowering, that I really don't care that much about, and I want to make sure any champion past that, like say Obero, is really not taking up a Faction Guardian slot, so any copy of her that I get, I can empower her no problem. Same thing goes with any of your other factions. Say you have Demon Spawn, you want to empower your Allure. Well, here's a perfect example. If I want to empower Allure, I should probably drop her out of the Faction Guardians, throw a champion like Padma in here, who I don't plan on empowering whatsoever. There's no need to do it. So now I can come in here and say, okay, well, let's go to the Faction Guardian slot. We're going to go to Epic, we're going to go to Faction, Demon Spawn specifically, and then Allure. This one right here is actually 1 star. I can go ahead and say, okay, let's go to, actually, as a matter of fact, I don't even know if I want to empower her to begin with, but let's go Allure. How do you even spell her name? There we go. So Allure, we got that one. Come in here, level up the champion a little bit. You will get champion training points for this, so make sure you come in here and drop, like, say, 5, 6 brews in there, and you're getting champion training points for the fusion, whatever it may be. Now for CVC, you shouldn't get points for this stuff because you don't get points for the legendary empowerment, so I don't see why you would for this level. So for this, 2 allures may or may not be actually needed, but I can come in here and empower my allure now. So we come in here, faction, demon spawn, allure, take this one and do this 1 copy for sure. Maybe I use 2 copies, give it the extra speed. It could be sweet, but the extra accuracy is very nice. I would love to get extra crit rate on her. Maybe eventually I could, but just as a first example, this is a very seamless empowerment. None of the other Demon Spawn Faction Guardians I'm worried about, none of them I care about, so I can come in here, that's good, it's a good setup. For Banner Lords, what champions would I want to empower in here? Well, I could empower my Ursula, I could empower my Stag Knight, could empower all these champions, but then I'm just breaking my Faction Guardians. That's not worth it. So I got no Banner Lords whatsoever that I can empower. That really even makes sense, honestly. High Elves, I think Royal Guard would be my main one that I'd want to empower here. I mentioned in my previous video that's not going to make him do more damage. I want to clarify because he's not inherently able to do more than the max HP cap, but getting him empowered will allow for more survivability, more accuracy, and essentially different builds that could be easier to fit into your account. So it is worth empowering these champions. I just wanted to emphasize it's not worth players to rush out, empower their Royal Guards, empower their Husks, break their Faction Guardians, make things weird, in hopes that now the Royal Guard is going to do significantly more damage when most areas of the game he's capped. So first up, you want to make sure you're hitting the cap, and then from there, you can get him into, say, like Relentless, Reflex, all that kind of stuff, different kinds of gear sets. In this case, I got 2 Royal Guard copies. I can go ahead and have none of them in my Faction Guardian slots, so my Royal Guard I can make +2. Let's come in here, say Royal Guard. We'll do this, take the one from the vault, throw in my collection, take this Royal Guard, bump him up a little bit. Boom, there's one. How do you go back to that without exiting that screen like that? Now with the 5-star champions, I don't need a bunch of 5-star champions, honestly. So this is actually okay as far as like the food stuff, but it is preventing a 6-star champion. So if you've leveled up champions in the past, it could be worth having more 6 stars. I don't need more 6 stars, so I can do this fine. We'll come in here, we'll go empower this faction, high elves, royal guard, the empowered. We'll make sure you're empowering the champion who's like got the highest blessings and so forth. There we go. So both of those empowered +2. Good job. So now we got Royal Guard taken up, a champion who may actually be used. Now we got a champion who's taken up who may actually be used. Let's look at High Elves. Is there any other champion in here who I would really want to empower? I don't think so. For my account, I don't personally use a ton of High Elf champions anymore. Sacred Order, how do we look here? Well, Godseeker. Godseeker is a potentially very good one to empower. However, my Godseeker's in a situation where her build's okay. I'm not really that worried about it. I will take her out of this Faction Guardian slot. Actually, no. I want to empower my Phoenix. My Phoenix, how to say his name. So I can get him to +3. So I'm going to take him out of the Faction Guardian slots. Put Deacon in there. I don't plan on empowering Deacon ever. Inquisitor Shamel will drop him from the Faction Guardian slots as well. Let's put Cardinal in there. Another champion who I never plan to empower. Mordecai, don't need to empower him. And then Godseeker, I actually have enough copies of her. I could +4 and still keep a Faction Guardian slot. So I'll make sure these two are brought up because these are both the Awakening ones. And then everything else is fine. So anything here in Sacred Order is good to empower, basically, if it's not Faction Guardian slot. So we'll come in here to the Faction Guardians. So no, the Empower Champions. We'll go Epic, Faction, Sacred Order. Now, Inquisitor Shamel, I have 3 copies of him. Well, 4 copies of him, basically. Let's make sure it's all of them we do. So I could +1 him. I'm not really that worried about it, honestly. I use 2 for Hydra for sure. This one I don't really need. They're both 60. It's not a rush to do it, honestly. Phoenix, I will take him up, though. So we got 2 copies there. Collection. Let's go in here and see. The Phoenix is equipped with my lifesteal gear. What's going on here? Why you got lifesteal gear on? Oh my goodness. I need 4 copies of him so I can actually get him to smack extremely hard. So is there a way to like quickly navigate to the tavern from here? There's not, unfortunately. So Phoenix, come in here for the point of the video, you know, showing what you should do before feeding these champs is always level them up. You're going to get some nice points for the champion training stuff. Might as well drop some brews into them, right? And if you want to come through here, you can, like, if you want to do it all in one fell swoop, just jump in here, check out all your champions, and then come back and level them, go back and level them up, come back in here, check them out. So now we got Phoenix. Take him up. Cool champion. He does good damage. He actually gets quite a bit of benefit from this. Extra 30% attack, extra 5 speed, extra 5% crit damage. So pretty sweet stuff. Getting him to +4 would be even better. I'll get him there very soon. But I only need 1 copy of him. I'm not worried about multiple copies. So this is a good champion to empower. So Epic here. Don't need to empower Godseeker. No need to do that. I'm not for sure why it's only showing a few. I definitely have more than that. Let's see. So Sacred Order. Epics. So, okay, include the vault. There we go. Okay, we're good now. We're good. Mordecai, don't need to empower him. Light Swarm, don't really care to empower him. And then this champion, no need to empower her. So we'll go into the next stuff. I'm not worried about empowering champions. I don't need to, honestly. The Mordecais I could trim down. I'll do that in a different video. It's kind of boring to watch here probably. But if I have plenty of them, if I have like, say 6 Mordecais, I'll just throw +4 into one. Have the other just sitting there. So then I would make it actually like condensing my space, possibly, or maybe just use it as food for champion training stuff. Now, barbarians. This one's going to be interesting. So I have a lot of barbarians, but maybe not a lot of ones that actually care about empowering. There's a few that I do want to empower. Let's check this out. So why could be good for some clan ball stuff potentially? Alika, I do want to empower her. She's pretty cool champion, so we'll get her up. She has some lockout stuff, kind of like Basher, so she'd be a cool champion to bring up. Huskarl, don't plan on empower him, don't plan on doing anything with him. Now, this is a suggestion for players who you don't have tons and tons of epics. If you have so many epics that you could fill this all with good champions, it's a completely different story. If you could make this all, say, all just champions you use, completely different playstyle, okay? This is probably from the majority of players. That is for like the select few number of players, okay? Empower champions. Unless you can +4 and have an extra, I wouldn't recommend putting them in here because you're going to come a time where you have a siffy situation like me where you can't actually empower the champion because you'd break your faction guardians. Most of the time, the faction guardian slots are more important, assuming it's a faction where there's more than just one valuable champion, right? So in this one, let's take Sawai to +4. We'll take Alika Let's take her to +2, I guess. We got 6-star one, don't need that. So Sawai, got several copies of her, and Alika. So we come in here to the barbarians, faction, barbarians. This is gonna be a better way to do this, actually. So Sawai, very nice. X, it breaks the filter every time. I don't like that at all, actually. Don't know how I can stop that from happening either, though. Let's see. Hit champion. Maybe I hit champions button back next time. So weird. I'll do like the filters added and stuff, but it's still just so weird that we have to do that stuff. Maybe I hit champion button this time. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe that. No, still didn't work. Still reset the filter. Plarium, can you fix that, please? Make it a little bit easier to level these champs up and such. Okay. So epic specifically. So why this is a good one to empower. I mean, we're gonna get a good chunk of champion training points just for doing this. Epic, faction, barbarians. Gotta go up here and show the vault. We could jump into campaign battle as well. The ones the Sawai's there. Okay, so we're fine. I may not care too much. A part of me is like, I just want to be lazy and just skip this for the video. But other parts like this is actually a decent way to get some good points before just feeding these champions off. There's no reason to just get rid of these champions, right? You might as well feed them up, level them up a little bit. So we come in here, faction, barbarians, epic champions specifically, right? Of course. So we're empowering. 1, 2, 3, 4. She's actually pretty good in clan boss, so I could use her potentially and actually put her in my clan boss team. I have a Ragnar currently, but these boosts could be pretty sweet. I'm probably not going to be empowering any of my clan boss champions. I don't feel like rebuilding my clan boss team, honestly. So, just my opinions there. Now, the next champion I said was going to empower was Alika. Do I have a 6-star Alika? No, but I have one that's got some awakenings, but not my... Oh, that's kind of weird. Either way. Was she locked, I guess? Okay, so +2 there. So now we come in here to Ogryn tribe. Ogryn's not going to have a ton of champions that can really empower that, I don't think, that I want to empower. We'll see. So faction guardians, Ogryn tribe. We have Ogryn there. Okay. So for Ugo, I have plenty of copies for her. I can take Ugo up. Manny, you're not going to bring him up. I got 3 copies of him. Don't really care about that, honestly. So it's just going to be Ugo. We'll take 1 Ugo to +2, it looks like. I only need 2. I got someone calling a different team, so only need 2 Ugos. So we'll come in here. Ugo. Maybe this is the way to actually feed your champs. Maybe this fixes it. Let's see. So since I use the filter. Nope. Still not there. Dang it. All right, so get this +5. There we go. So now we come back into where we were. Let's see where we're at with champion training. We're getting some free points. There we go. We're getting this rare champion. I didn't get that many from that just now. I was doing some dragon yesterday, but did get an okay amount. So far, it's more than nothing, which is always sweet, right? So empower champs. We'll go to Ugo. We'll go to this one right here, and then +2. Always make sure you empower your awakened champions, ideally, right? This would be the best way to do it. And we have 2 copies of her, so that's good. I don't need 3 copies. 2 copies is plenty for me. Then we'll go to faction, lizardmen. Let's come in here and look at lizardmen, faction guardians, lizardmen. Really, there's nothing in lizardmen that I want to empower. So this is very important because I know in lizardmen that I want to empower Venom Mage if I get her. If I get more copies of Venom Mage, I want to empower that champion. But if you look at my faction guardians for lizardmen, I can +1 a lot of champions. However, well, not necessarily +1. I could +1 it and then break the faction guardian slot, maybe still have extra. So like here, I could say, okay, let's go in and +1 or +2 one of these champions and only have the faction guardian slots filled, but no extra stuff, which is currently how it looks. So if I get a Venom Mage now, I can empower her. But if I was to start feeding everything here, I would not be able to empower my Venom Mage possibly. This one's not a great example of that, but still, hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying. This faction has nothing I need to empower. I could go through and all these heroes here, I don't need to use more copies of these. So all of these I could come in and empower. So like Quargon +1, Skathix +1. This dude down here could be +1, maybe even +2. No, +1 because 1 extra to have him at the very far end. But I'm not worried about that one. So I'm just going to skip that. Skinwalkers, see this. So Urson, don't need him. Not going to use him anywhere. So it's perfect. Fane, I don't use her anymore. Don't use him. Steel Skull, don't use him. Don't use him. So Basher, I can +1 him. The Hyena, if I wanted to +1 him, I could. So let's actually just do Basher. Basher's the only person who I actually care about here. Actually get him +1. Kind of a cool champ to have. May actually use him again. But he's also 6-star. Another 6-star one. That I'm never going to use a 6-star, by the way. I just took him to 6-star because I was doing some champion training stuff and I kind of had to do that. Just going to get Basher. And then put this one in. And then drop this one to power him. There we go. So Basher now +1. Gives him extra accuracy. Gives him extra resistance. Don't care about the resistance so much, but the extra accuracy is always nice to see. So next up we have, let's see about this, Orcs. Well, who am I going to empower in Orcs? A big point with Seer is that more survivability means that she may survive dungeon waves longer when you typically want her to die faster. So is the extra 10% HP, the extra, say, 40% HP, 40% defense, is that really worth it for you? So if you want your Seer to die, you're not going to want to empower her. Now, I have Zargala. I might actually, okay, so I got one right there. I could +3 her. I may save one more copy for Centranos, but I'll +3 my Zargala. It's no problem whatsoever. She's not in the Faction Guardian slots. And there's no other orcs that I really want to empower. Seer's like the main orc you use. And since I'm not using her to empower, it's going to be fine. Like, it's cool to empower her because she will hit hard. But then you have to realize, well, if she's hitting hard, let's actually copy this. There we go. She's hitting hard, but she's surviving so much longer. And in things like speedruns, you don't want your champions to survive super long at the boss, except for the champions who are actually doing the damage on the boss. Typically like your poison champions for dragon, your HP burn champions for ice golem, so on and so forth. So if she's surviving long, it's just going to make your runs more clunky. And we're not looking for clunky runs, right? So now we go to Zargala, Control C, Control V. Very, very nice. +3 her. Unlock, unlock, unlock. So now we got a Zargala. I could +4 her, but may want to save a dupe for Faction Guard or for Centranos. Now with this, some of these things you're probably going to pull these epics again in the future, right? However, I've been in accounts where they've never pulled Vogoth. Shout out V and Saber. There's accounts that, like mine, I've never pulled some epics. I went like 2 years without pulling a single miscreated monster. So I would not rely on pulling the epics again in the future with your empowering stuff, right? I would do what you can. Don't go above that because you could put yourself in spots where you're going to regret it. Make sure that the champions you're empowering, there's no other champions in the faction that you want to empower. So for Undead Horde, we have nothing here that I'm really running out to empower. The Seeker I could empower, but nothing here I really care that much about. Vogoth could be cool, but I don't use him anymore. And in the Undead Horde, let's see. Nobody who I want to do a video on necessarily. If there's anybody that I could empower, just like not break my Faction Guardians, I'll do it, I guess, because it's not really anything I really want to do. I can trim down some space, though, with it. I guess it'd be fine. But it looks like most of them are in the Faction Guardians anyway. I got a Husk who's not. So we'll throw this one in. I guess like that's fine. Make a +1 Husk. We have Mausoleum Mage. Don't really care about him, honestly. Don't need to get him +1. These two are in Faction Guardians anyways. I could put this one in there. I could organize that. I'll do the fine details later on. This dude, I don't really care about him, honestly, either. Don't need to empower him for nothing. So it could trim down space, but these could also just be food champions, right? Is it better to empower the champion or just use it for food? I mean, if it's a champion who's useless, he's useless at +2, +3, +4, and at least the food is somewhat usable. So that's really up to you to decide. I'm not for certain which one I'm going to do, but if I'm not going to use it, I probably won't worry about empowering it. Maybe I do. I don't really know, honestly. I'm still up in the air about that. So not 100% decided. Now, I got a lot of Dark Elves. So in Dark Elves, some epics that I would recommend empowering would actually be, let's see, Dark Elves, sweet. I would see who he's empowered by. Dirindil can do some good damage, I've heard. So maybe, I think I would empower Lua, is very solid champion. She can actually hit pretty hard. And then Sylar, Madame Ceres, these two could use more accuracy and speed. So those are the ones that I would be empowering. With Dark Kale, though, he's a really good champion. Who empowers him? Let's see. So Captain Tamilia, I can't empower him. I don't have any extra copies of her, unfortunately. So Dark Elves, we got Madame Ceres. I got a lot of copies of her, though. Let's do this. Team's currently locked. Unlock first, be able to use some power. Okay, got some gear on her. Man, okay. Let's take this gear off of her. I'll take my Madame Ceres up some. I don't use her anymore. and I don't see myself using her anytime soon. But if I did, well, I wouldn't mind having one empowered. I'm not going to worry about giving this one levels up +4. I don't feel like clicking back, so we'll just leave it as it is. You probably only need one copy of her. I'll save 2. She's a void champion, so maybe I need one in stone skin. Maybe I need one in regular high accuracy gear. That's how I used to have it, so just for that potential possibility, we'll save it. So Dark Elves here. Sylar, we got a few copies of her. Lua, we got 2 copies of her. So Lua and Sylar both going to get some food too. Let's go ahead and back out and see Lua and Sylar. About to meet a friend of mine at the gym, so I need to hurry up and finish this up. Let's go ahead and feed up some stuff to Lua, and then get her taken up, and then we'll feed up some stuff to Sylar as well. Sylar's a cool champion. She's I don't use her in Faction Wars anymore, but she is a good champion. So there's no reason to not empower her, basically. Well, dang it. Actually, there is reasons to empower her. If you don't have enough of her, possibly. But she brings a lot of good stuff from the empowerment. She gets the extra speed, gets the extra accuracy, which is super important, super valuable. Extra speed, extra accuracy. So a champion like this who is a speed manipulator, it's very valuable to have those specific stat increases. Just something to consider. And then there we go. So 1+4 champion, sweet. Got it. Very nice, very nice. Instant upgrade. I don't need an instant upgrader, no. I was wondering if I'm messing up, if I'm going more slow than I should. This video is how long? 22 minutes. Hopefully you guys enjoy this stuff, guys. Also, drop a like on the video if you do enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel, all that kind of good stuff. I do have another channel right now, AFK Journey. I'll leave it linked in the, comment section below if you want to check it out. AFK Journey, I've been playing it quite a bit. So I haven't talked about the channel except for a few times on stream, but since I've been consistent with it, I want to share it with you guys, because if you play it, if you're interested, go check it out. Very much appreciate it. It's growing slowly, but it's growing. Sylar +4, easy peasy. Let's see who else we got here. So exit her. Don't have any copies of anybody to empower Kale with. Lua, take her up to +2. She hits hard. Like, she's a pretty sweet champion. She's good against Rotos. She has a triple hitter on the A3. A surprising champion indeed. Get rid of, we'll hide that. Don't need to empower anybody else. No reason. There's no reason to rush this stuff, guys. There is no reason to rush it. So up next we have, let's see, Empower Champion, or Faction Guardians. We have Night Revs. These ones are the one I want to empower from here. Faceless, possibly, but Skullcrown and Sinesha, I actually do want to. So we'll take Sinesha up 1. I don't even care about leveling that one up, honestly. The efficiency, I'm more about the speed right now. Honestly, what I want to do with this faction is get Skullcrown and Sinesha out of the Faction Guardian slots if I can. Whisper, I don't need to empower her. She's good. She's really good for Hydra. I know Saf does a lot of content with her, but I don't necessarily need her. I could drop my Skullcrown. I wish I could drop my Skullcrown as well. I could actually... So if I had one more copy of Doom Priest, I could throw her in there. I could throw in Skullcrown or Sinesha. I could +1 my Skullcrown as well, or +2 Sinesha. Not for sure which one. Not a rush. Actually, I might just +1 the Skullcrown. Have Sinesha in the Faction Guardian slot, and anyone I pull in the future, I can give it to her. Or get the Doom Priest to fill in that spot, and then go in here now and empower my Skullcrown. Because these two are really cool in Blender teams, and being able to push up even more attack is pretty sweet. So this is one's level 60. I don't need that stuff she has, though. Like, I don't need her to be built. This one, I don't need 2 Skullcrowns, which is something you want to keep in mind. If you need 2 Skullcrowns, well, you're going to want to keep them both, right? I got plenty of Night Rev champions. Now coming in here, I keep clicking out. I don't have to do that. So Faction Guardians, Night Revs, done. Dwarves, pretty limited. Actually, no, I got a lot of Dwarves. I got a Geomancer. So I might save my 60s. I might just empower 2 of them. So 2 Geos. Cornelia's done. Is he in any Faction Guardian slots? He's not. Dazdirk. I could come through here and empower some of these champs if I really wanted to. I don't really care, though. Like, we're not that tight on champion space where I have to do that. But I will level up these level 1s. Because this is 6-star. This is some good stuff here, right? Like, this is 6-star, taken up, get some sweet points from that. And then Geo, get some sweet points from this one as well. And get my Geo taken up. Now, I want to empower my one that is Actually, let's make sure he's not in Iron Twins. If he is, it's probably okay. He's my Iron Twins team. It's a +2 one, or it's the 2-star Awakened one. It should be fine. The extra 5 speed shouldn't break it. I'll have to go back and check it if it does, but it should be okay. The team that I run, I don't think has super strict speed limits, but maybe I'm doing a different one. I don't use Geo a ton anymore, but just because I have 360s, I'm not in a huge rush to empower him. Honestly, we'll go ahead and hit this one up, though. This is fine. So now we come over to... Did I just click back again when I didn't have to do that? Goodness gracious. Shadowkin. There's a few champions who I like to empower here. Gimbo would be kind of cool. Let's get Gimbo out of here. Let's put Yumitogi, or whatever her name is. I don't even know what her name is. Or whatever her name is. I forget. I only care about Oboro and Shadowkin. That's the only one I care about. But Gimbo, let's go ahead and take him up. Gimbo's a good damage dealer. I actually saw him in a team yesterday with Mikage. That's actually pretty interesting. Pretty smart strategy there. Mikage plus Gimbo. It was in a 3v3 takeover for somebody, and it was a little bit lower in the arena. But it was pretty sweet. I'm like, huh, I like that idea. I like that idea you got. Because he joins in on the attacks with his A1, and his A1 hits pretty decent, honestly. So we'll come in here, empower champs, Gimbo, throw him in, and then bada bing, bada boom. There we go. Empower, Gimbo is done. Very nice. So now, clicked over like I'm supposed to. I like the video, guys, for that one. It took it till the very end, literally the very end. Sylvan Watchers is very limited for me. Like, I have no extra spots at all. I could empower my Orn to +1, possibly, but there may be Sylvan Watchers who I want to empower more, so I'm not even going to rush it. So at the end of this, how many champions do I have empowered? An account that is pretty well done, which I could have had basically all these champions plus forward. Look, another Obro sold. I could have had all these champions plus forward, but I've sold so many epics throughout my time that I just don't. But as far as epic champions, let's see. So at the end of this, I ended up having, I got a +4 Sawai, Sylar, +3 Madam, +3 Zargala, Phoenix, +2 Royal Guard, Geo, Ugo, Gimbo. So I got a few champions empowered. Not a ton, but a few. And I think this is a pretty good way to approach this. It's a slow and calculated way to approach this. You don't have to rush into any of these empowerments. Level up your champions along the way. We literally got a good chunk of points done. So level your champions, empower your champions, think about what champions you actually want to empower, and is it worth trimming down your faction guardians for that. So my perfect example was the undead horde stuff. I had UDK in here, empowered him, I had plenty of slots, thought it was fine, and then realized, oh wait, I actually want to empower my Siphi to +2. I can't do that right now. I lose 10 speed to everything. So guys, keep all that in mind when you're going through this. If you have any other tips and suggestions when it comes to empowering champions, let me know in the comment section below. Definitely want to try to give you all the best advice I can and steer you in the best possible direction. So guys, with that said, thank y'all for watching. Love and appreciate all of you, and I'll catch you in the next one.